Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Advocacy Prime, the ICEC convention episodes here. We are on number 7. Wow, we get 7 episodes here. Oh, and I have the pleasure of sitting in front of one of my mentors, my professors, someone who I just want to be, I look up to. She is one of the smartest people that I know. And all my other professors that are watching there too, you are all up on there too, just right along with her. No one's higher, no one's lower. I love all of you the same. But she's an amazing woman. Gosh, and she is the one who kicked me right in the rear. Not actually, but made me get this going. And I thank you for that. And here we have Dr. Jennifer Stringfellow. How are you today?
I'm fine. I'm a little bit nervous about this, but you're wonderful. So you're making me feel a lot better.
Good. Dr. Stringfellow got her Bachelor of Science in Social Studies and Education over at U of I.
Correct.
And then she went over to get her Master's and her Doctorate in Special Education at UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Very cool out there. That's awesome. So she is also an associate professor over at Eastern Illinois University, of course, and she is an advisor for SCEC, Student Council for Exceptional Children. She has also been a member of CEC for 20 years. That's amazing. That is so cool. And you've been coming down to these conferences. So what brings you here today?
Well, the conference going on, first of all, and we have a presentation there. And for the past probably 8 years or so, we've been including our undergraduate students in that. So we bring anywhere from, sometimes it's been as low as 5, but sometimes it's been as many as 10 students. And they present in the poster presentations, but they also do a stand-up, face-to-face presentation with myself and other professors from our university, so they get an experience of what a conference is about, but also a professional conference, but also what it's like to be on the other side of those rooms and be actually giving the information and presenting the information. And we have a ball, a ball. Love it. And I think it's a really great experience for our undergraduate teaching candidates, in addition to all of the coursework that they take, all of the practicum that they have to complete, but to also understand that there are professional organizations that are really helpful with providing information, but also where they can disseminate information that they have.
Yeah. So. I mean, these poster presentations, and you and I are actually coming up here very soon, or not today, but in the future, in November. And so I was able to get involved with SCEC when I was at Eastern Illinois, and I was also given the opportunity by my professors to be able to go and present at these conferences, to learn how to do that, to learn how to be professional. I mean, it's an important part, right? Like, what is the value that you see in teaching teacher candidates to be able to present at a professional conference like this?
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of my colleagues, when I was graduating with my doctorate, they wanted to go to the research extensive universities because they knew that they could mentor future doctors in special education, which is great and wonderful. I don't take anything away from that. But that wasn't my choice. My choice was to go to those individuals who are the first, who are learning everything. They're not experienced teachers. So to go and be able to, first of all, work in a program that is so good at teaching young people to be the best special education teachers they can be. Was really exciting for me. But then I also found that another piece of that was to say, we've got a lot of organizations out there, professional organizations. Many of them are, and this is not to take anything away, but the registrations are really expensive. And to go to a national or an international conference is very expensive. So undergraduate students don't have that kind of funding because they're not working. And they're already spending a lot of money on their education. This is a wonderful way. And so it was a way for me to help empower those students. That's what my doctorate was about for me,
So
was to
cool.
empower me. And so my feeling was, let me empower some of these brand spanking new, very excited, very dedicated people who are learning to be the professionals that they will be. And let's give them as many experiences as we can. And so this is my way of getting involved in research, because usually it's stuff that I haven't really researched necessarily myself. I have some understanding of it, but we let them get involved in that process. And it is so good for that, but also these organizations need young blood.
Yes.
They need that new energy, and that's not to take anything away from the dedicated people that are involved already, but we really do need new people who find a purpose that, yes, this can inform potentially my classroom practice. So important to keep these organizations going and not to let them kind of fall because everyone is, aging out. They're retiring and maybe they don't want to be involved anymore.
Right.
We need young blood. Plus, this kind of thing with a podcast and with Twitter and Instagram, and I know some of those things are way beyond, and passe, but podcasting, blogging, this is kind of the informational wave of the future and even of the now. And I am not familiar with it at all, other than I listen to podcasts and all, but I'm not the one who can do that, but our students are the ones who really could. They use them all the time. Yeah. And all of these organizations could benefit from being more involved in that. And so that's the other reason that I think that these are really good. Yeah. It also gets them to hear other people besides their brilliant professors at Eastern.
Absolutely. Gosh, beyond
but
brilliant.
But it does get them to hear there are other perspectives out there, and there are other people who are really knowledgeable, and some of them may be people you end up teaching with, and that would be great to know. So there's just so many benefits to this.
Well, again, and being part of, SCEC at school, it was able to help me bridge the gap between my undergraduate life into my professional life. And that's something that's really important because, we all need a foundation of what we need to find reliable, important, evidence-based information, and also strategies to help us as a teacher, and also, just strategy and ways to collaborate with other professionals. Again, the Eastern Illinois Master's Program especially, and I really highly encourage people to go ahead and go on to the website of Eastern Illinois, and I'm not just plugging this because I'm so biased, but again, I was able to be given these opportunities to be part of CEC and be introduced to people in these programs, all because of my passionate professors who I just, again, adore and just want to be. And so they made me find importance in myself, and they made me relate that to organizations like this. And you're bringing students down, and they're maybe sitting nervous in front of their poster, but then they're going home and they're saying, yeah, I presented at a conference today. How cool is
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Well, and it validates what they've done. Yeah. So it validates what they're interested in. It validates the work that they've already done. And we all need validation. Yeah. That's a big part of special education and how we work with individuals with disabilities is first validate who they are right now. Yeah. And that's what this does. I think it validates all that work that they've done. It's not just for us. Right. It's not just for people at the university, but there's a broader impact that work that they do can make, can be a part of. And so our undergraduate students, usually the posters are that 3600 class, which is all about behavioral principles. And behavior is such a huge part of education in general. So they see that information is helpful to a lot of people. And as you've been pointing out, our master's online, we are very proud of that master's degree program, very much so.
So it's done effectively. It's personal,
It was a
too.
big change for us, too, to move to an online format. But when you're in a more rural area that's kind of remote from urban areas, and a lot of our students, our undergraduate students have come from the more urban areas in Illinois, it's a real good way for us to be able to reach out beyond their undergraduate careers, and when they're thinking about doing a master's degree, the fact that we have it online, they don't have to come to Charleston to do that. And we have ways of it. You do give up something in education when it's not face-to-face anymore, but our feeling was You're already teaching, so you're out there. You have some experience with that, unlike undergraduate students who haven't really, haven't done that at all. But also, we can interact with you too. So we give up a little bit of the face-to-face, but we have chats.
Yeah.
We have video chats. We have, there are all sorts of opportunities for us to get together, for the students in the classroom, online classroom, to work together. So that's really been good. And this, when I was teaching this summer and you were saying you really wanted to do this podcast, it was wonderful because the course that you were in was about dissemination.
Yeah.
And I had to not fight, but I had to argue a little bit with some of the powers that be to say this is absolutely dissemination and the effectiveness of AdvocacyPRIME.
Yeah.
And I love that you called it that.
Yeah.
Because at the time it wasn't even named. It was just a podcast that you wanted to do. This has just been amazing to me how this has taken off. You have t-shirts that have AP on them now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is wonderful. And it was never about you. That's the beauty of it too, Michael. It was never about you. It was always about that dissemination.
Yeah.
You wanted to be able to give good, sound, reasonable information to parents of children with disabilities, those children themselves who are, and I'm saying children maybe 25 years old. To me, they're a child.
Yeah.
but to other advocates of individuals with disabilities, to people in other fields besides education, maybe counseling, maybe advocacy.
Yeah.
You wanted to give a voice to them, and you wanted to be able to get that information out to as many people as possible, even potentially individuals who don't have disabilities, who don't know anyone with a disability, maybe work with someone with a disability. How wonderful to have the beauty of a podcast is that it's boundless.
Yeah.
You get the right platform for this, and Facebook, obviously, and you were saying YouTube is. I just think the dissemination is potentially global, honestly. And I'm not speaking too large about that. And so, wow, to be able to provide information to people beyond a school district, a state. So I could really argue from that standpoint that the dissemination of this is as big as you can think, honestly. So,
and that's why, even having the title there is, for the curious too. I want people to be genuinely, curious about people with disabilities in the advocacy world, and not even just sticking on just disability, but even mental health too, because there's not enough people talking about it, and that is very important. And again, it helps me talk about mental health on here, but I also want people to talk about mental health so it helps them, and also to know that it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to have issues, because we all do. I don't care if you think you're perfect, if you are top in the world. I guarantee those people have more issues than people that are in, kind of people like us, and so
and we're all
I appreciate
people.
that.
At the bottom line of it all, we're all human beings.
Yeah.
And so whether I have a disability or not, whether I have a mental health issue or not, or several, I'm still at the core a human being who lives and moves and breathes. And the more that we can see each other as human first, and then whatever else, is just brilliant. And that's what this
well
is.
Said. Oh, man.
But that's what I see this as, and so that's why I could be a real good advocate for you to do this as well.
And by the way, you're doing such a fantastic job. Don't you kind of just forget you're here,
Yeah. Well, I'm just talking to you. I'm just talking to you.
We are.
So
We're
that's
having a
great.
conversation. Yeah.
And I love conversations.
Yeah. Luckily, not luckily, but she's got to present in about 10, 15 minutes, and we could probably sit here for multiple hours, and so maybe it's a good thing that we have a timeline here. I just want to re-emphasize here that students who are listening to this, that we need to be able to bridge the gap from our undergraduate lives, or anywhere that we're coming from, and be able to have a reliable and effective organization like CEC, and remain and keep our membership, because we need those resources, and especially because it is the standard of special education. And the articles that, which I love, it's part of a lot of curriculum, and specifically at Eastern Illinois, they're not dry. Like, they're not dry articles. Like, they're well written, and they're very intuitive. So, again, there's just so much valuable information to find from there. And, and you got to get off here in about 4 minutes to go. But I really want to gather from you, what have you really benefited as a professional and personal from CEC?
Wow. For me, it connected me with people.
Yeah.
First and foremost,
I got theme.
Yeah, I got to just such a broader opportunity for information.
Yeah.
And then the beauty of a conference is that you can pick and choose.
Yeah.
So, you can do that, and that was great.
Yeah.
I will say, too, going to conferences nationally and all, I get to reconnect with friends of mine that we went through the doctorate together, and when you do that, whether they start as cohorts or whether you just form your own, we tended to form our own, and so it's really great to do that. And this experience is really great because the opportunity to bring those undergraduate students in, it really is a marriage of the art and the science of teaching. And I think sometimes the art, that's something we can't teach you.
No.
That is something that you come with, and we can help build on those positive qualities that you have. The science we can teach.
Yeah.
That is the research articles, that is everything else. But the art of it is what you get to see. And when you come to conferences, you get to see other people. And I do think it's important and valuable for our undergraduate students to know that we're not the only people in the world that do this. And there are other really accomplished, very entertaining, very approachable people in the field. And I think that starts a foundation for, maybe it's just about me going and asking someone, and I think that's really good when you're a beginning teacher.
Yeah, and I think the artistry is something that is really, really well said. So you can't teach an artist to the draw, but we're all, as teachers, drawing very similar things, but in unique ways.
Or sculpting.
Yeah.
We really are. We're part of a very vital part of developing someone. And we can do that for the positive, or we can do that for the negative. And I don't know that that's always a choice, but I do think the self-reflection of teachers is really important, and we try to help our students do that too, especially in special education, because we do have students with mental health issues as well that get involved, and it's just so important that we listen and that we realize that there's a human being there. And what we do and what we say really impacts them.
Really well said. Jeez. Gosh, yeah. And as you guys know, this is why I love this individual. Dr. Jennifer Stringfellow. I can't thank you enough. I'm just so happy you're here, and I really wish you luck on your presentation. Thank you for all of the gifts that you are giving me. Thank you for the gifts that you're giving and inspiring to these teachers. As much as you don't think that you are, I know we're humble about it, but gosh, you are just you're changing the world, and you changed my life. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, thank you for this. It wasn't hard at all. I'm glad I did it.
No, absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to wrap up our 7th episode here with Dr. Jennifer Stringfellow. Thank you so much for coming in.